All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. This is another edition of what we're calling Talking Tickets, very similar to Coffee with an AD on the NACTA level. Just kind of like to get a group together. Nothing necessarily formal, no one speaker or two speakers or anything like that. Really just want to open it up to the group for kind of sharing what you do, idea sharing, ask questions, learn more, anything else there. So we locked in around this topic more so kind of knowing that spring sports are working their way through. People are obviously already on sale with fall winter sports probably right now. So that transition time of kind of how you wrap up the end of one school year and how you start looking ahead to next school year. Also understand the fact that this is a heavy time for job openings to pop up, applications to happen, interviews, things like that. So any advice or things like that people want to have. If somebody wants to ask a question and prefer that we not record you saying it, just let us know, and we're happy to cut off the recording at that point of the session. So we respect everybody's thoughts and privacy there. But my name's Dan Pruitt. I'm Assistant AD of Ticketing here at University of Dayton, also the second VP at NAATSO. So thanks for joining us here, and we'll just kind of start off looking at the let's see, let's start with the budget discussion. So, as your, I guess, what involvement do people have with budgets? Is it something that you get to be collaborative with? Is it something more so you're told? And what type of timeline are you normally working off of? Is that something you already have for next year, or is it to be decided as the summer months go on?
Marie with Maryland. So we are actually just starting ours. We traditionally will meet with our business office. They'll set up um, one-on-one meetings with each department, kind of review the good, the bad, the ugly of your budget that you're currently finishing up. And then from there, we do zero base. So we go through line by line and put in a request. And then about a month or so after that, we get our yays and nays and adjustments from our business office. So I'm anxiously awaiting that one-on-one meeting right now.
Is that budget something that you've seen like you're expecting a 5% hit, 10% hit? Is there a
So
working number?
for us, it's been pretty minimal, like ticket operation budgets. There's not a lot of like flex space. It's like what you got to pay for your ticket partner and a few other things. Going into this year, transparently, in January, we were tasked with everything coming from the house settlement and trying to find that rev share revenue. We were tasked with some 5 to 10% cuts in all of our budgets, expecting that that will continue next year. So what I propose to get me through the last 6 months might shift, knowing that I can spread it out across an entire year. But otherwise, it's pretty minimal. They are very transparent, usually, of like, you're not going to get this in the one-on-one and be like, these are all the wish lists. And they're like, dial it back. So like you kind of have some understanding going into it.
You always got to aim high for the nice pens, and then you can settle for the different ones. But always start high.
Exactly. If you don't ask, you're never going to get it.
Yeah, no doubt. Anybody else having that type of experience of kind of hands-on with the budget, or at least being in collaboration at all on that?
And Andrew over here at Boise State. We have a similar process to what Marie has at Maryland. I do have one added benefit though, is that our budget is still kind of built around the way ticketing used to be. So we have a large budget for printing tickets. We have a portion in there for our conference tournament tickets. There's a few pieces in there that are a little outdated, but because of that, we haven't been specifically asked to start making cuts yet, but I've been able to at least reposition some of those outdated budgets by saving that money. Hey, we don't spend $50,000 a year on ticket printing. That's a cost we've passed on the consumer. Now we only eat about 10 of it. or something like that. I've been able to take those savings and at least reconvert them through those conversations with the business office. So it is, being a revenue generating department, we are able to at least argue and get, I think, have a little bit more of a stronger platform to get a little of that money back, or at least be allowed to keep certain monies and just reposition them. So, but it does help, that same point Marie is having that conversation with the business office. And sometimes you put those prayers in and see what works, but a lot of it's just become a lot of just take your budget and figure out how else you can make certain things work under it. So
Yeah, absolutely. So you all are still printing tickets, or you just have a line item for ticket printing that is kind of a shell game?
it used to be a line item because we used to make it back before, really before COVID. It was, we printed everything. Every season ticket holder, we did our bulk order to our external printer. It was a $15 fee across every season ticket. So that line item is really built in from that fee that was collected anyway. Now we pass that cost straight onto the consumer. If they want printed tickets, it's a separate additional fee. But that is not something that, like, that line item actually does not line up with that fee specifically. And just the general cost of it's now gone down. Instead of printing, 16,000, 20,000 season tickets, we're now printing 8,000, 6,000. So just those natural cost savings are in there, but we haven't exactly been, I haven't completely revealed, the magic behind that to our business office, but I've at least indicated, like, no, we're saving money here. Hey, that expense to the ticket company should be coming out of this line item here instead. Like, I haven't totally revealed the magic behind it, but it's just enough to kind of, with that uncertainty we all face in our budgets right now, that's the one that I kind of get away with is not being completely transparent just yet. So
Yeah. No, that one ticket reprint was $50,000. Like, that's got to stay. That's a real thing. But
Can I,
go ahead, Marie.
sorry to interrupt. Andrew, that you bring up a great point. Do you mind sharing what you charge your fans for physical printing?
absolutely. We charged this has literally changed every year between men's basketball and football. We offer it between the two sports. If Olympic sports, we don't charge for. It's not worth it. We've tried to do like a $10 print fee. It's a bigger pain than anything else. Football is now at $50, but we do select the option. We're potentially in between ticket printers this year. But that includes to get your tickets printed, mailed directly to you from the company, and with tracking if possible. That also includes fulfillment of parking as well in there, because my parking transportation department refuses to let us go digital. So we have to do that for now. But yeah, 50 for football. It will be 50 for basketball as well, just to maintain a standard. We try to do a lot of that in-house with basketball, but the demand has gotten so much that we can't do it anymore. So we're just going to outsource it. I believe we used to do like 30 or 40 we used to a little cheaper. We also used to have like a joint print fee. So if you wanted, previously the last 2 years, we did football, men's basketball renewals together. So if you wanted to get both your tickets printed, that was an individual item versus instead of 50-50, it would be, I think, let's say 70 total. But now that we've separated that out, it's 50 for each sport, and then we'll just outsource it from there. We haven't really gotten a lot of, the older fans will gripe about it, but they still pay it. And I know my bosses in my administration, there is a profit component to that. My biggest priority on that is just cover the cost, and I don't want to have to ever see a fulfillment envelope in my office prior to the season. So whatever it costs to get that done, we go ahead and do it. So but yeah, I think right now it's 50-50 or $50 for each of football and men's basketball. And then for the record too, we sell that as an actual add-on, an item, not as we don't charge it as a fee. That way we can better, at least through Ticketmaster, as a Ticketmaster school, it allows us to better maintain it both in terms of an add-on during your renewal process or when you buy your season tickets, and also allows us to better track the item. So that way we can just manipulate it a little bit better. You guys not familiar with how Pack would work on that one, but it does allow us to at least kind of, hey, when you go to renew your tickets, it is a checklist item in there when you go to renew online. If you like printed tickets, it'll be $50. We do convey that it is free to go digital. That's the biggest thing, is that it's not a additional fee. It's not an additional fee. It is an additional cost to have them printed. That seems to have kind of helped us manipulate the language a little bit, just to go that to start off with that it's free to go digital and additional cost to print them.
Andrew, are you talking like you're just doing like spitter tickets from your Boca printer, or are they like the nice season tickets from your
No, they're the nice
third
season
party?
ticket. Yeah,
Okay.
so we used Ingate previously. We'd probably shift that just through a natural cycle of things. But yeah, if you want that $50 will cover the fancy tickets. The spitter tickets are up for discussion right now. I don't like the idea of charging the same amount for them. But we get into this argument of, as people kind of learn that there's a cheaper alternative to have them printed in-house, and it just takes forever to print them in-house, that we're kind of debating if we want to just kind of make it flat and kind of force people to go buy early. So
Yeah, well, that's what I asked. Like, if they show up on game day, so we have that problem. We actually don't say you can get printed tickets, and so we don't charge because we can't from certain people. So, but they just show up on game day, right? And they want their season ticket printed, right? So it takes 15 minutes at the booth waiting for 6 tickets to print, 6 games plus all of that. So I was just curious of if they were getting nice tickets, or if they were just getting kind of spitter tickets. So
no, yeah, it's all not. We do the nice up through like June or whatever that deadline is, and then from that point, that's kind of where we will charge people if they come for season tickets, and if they need it on game day, we will text them the tickets for that day, and then have them come in during the week for the rest of it, basically. But it's that battle's a little harder to face. I mean, as you've indicated, like it's not that one. I don't think there's a perfect answer to just yet.
Awesome. I guess while we're on the topic of just anybody else utilizing that as an additional revenue option for printing tickets, whether it's the books or nicer tickets or the Boca stock or spitter tickets as they're called.
Yeah, to kind of at NC State to kind of echo Andrew there. We do spitter stock. We don't do the nice tickets, so we're not sending it off. But $10 if you do your season tickets in advance. Otherwise, if you show up day of the game or something, like to Andrew or to Amanda's point, we're charging $10 per print job at that point. So even if it's just I need today's tickets printed, it's $10. And then even we'll tack on a ticket reprint fee, an line item, just like Andrew was talking about, and we're on Pacquiao. We'll tack it on to single game day of sales. So if somebody walks up to the windows and we need to print a ticket for them, we'll tack that on as well, just to again to cover some costs there. We'll do it for just about anything. So I mean, same thing. We advertise that everything is digital. Nothing up front. Only if they gripe and complain in advance. We'll do ticket reprints a day of if they walk up and ask for it. If they need help downloading it, we'll download it, help them download it. But if they want to actually wind up with a printed ticket, we'll do it. We have even gone so far as we've had some larger groups, and we would charge a $75 fee to print group tickets, but very rare on those. But yeah, we've gone the $10 per, and really encourage them, if they're going to do it in advance, the season ticket's going to save them. Otherwise, they're paying by the game for us.
Brian, just to clear, you're doing $10 per ticket or flat $10 per order?
$10 per ticket. So if you have 4 season tickets, you'd be $40. We are still printing parking passes, however. So and having to ship and mail those. Our tickets are digital, but we have to print and ship parking passes. So I'm sure a lot of folks are still stuck in that purgatory like us. But yeah, so we still have to keep that budget line item for printing costs, just like Andrew was talking about. But similar, we'll play the shell game and use it to our advantage when we need to. But we do charge that line item, so it shows up separately, budgeting and another revenue line that we can bank on.
We
do ours.
introduced. Oh, go ahead.
We do ours a little bit differently. We are a Pacquiao school, so we offer for season tickets. They have the option to do will call or mail. We only do a $5 charge for will call. We're trying to get rid of mail this year because the post office is slow. All of that though is just on spitter tickets. So that revenue that we created last year helped cover the cost of all of our Boca stock for the entire year.
We introduced this year a $25 flat across for football, men's basketball, and women's basketball. Mailing fee, we do it more of a hidden menu item. So up front, everything is digital. They have to either reach out to the ticket office or to their rep and request it and authorize that we can charge their credit card on file that $25 fee. So if you have tickets on all three sports, you're spending $75 for the year. For one ticket, 4 tickets, 12 tickets.
Are
We
you guys
introduced it as a revenue growth, but also more as I was finding that a lot of people just don't like change. And so there were a lot of people that were like, I need physical tickets. And then we said, okay, it's gonna be $25. And they said, hold on, let me see if I can figure this out.
so you guys charging that? Do you also charge like an order or processing fee on the season tickets too? So what is your like total? So if I bought 4 season tickets, what and wanted them printed, what is my total fees or order charges between both of that?
For football or men's basketball, it would be $55. So we have a $30 processing fee. For football and men's basketball, we have a $20 processing fee for women's basketball season, and then on top of it would be that $25 mailing fee.
So obviously kind of the Congress and law coming through, right, of kind of upfront ticketing and in addition kind of the House and if you're with certain people they've already, Pat kind of went all in pricing with some of their new updates and that for some of us that have taxes kind of hurt us in the front part, right? And just kind of some back and forth. So kind of curious how um everybody's kind of handling that right on that front end. So we do just a $10 like processing fee, which we went up $1 this year and people were mad, which was so funny because I just wanted to be round numbers. So I had to stop bringing dollar bills everywhere. And we hadn't changed in like 10 years, but we're just $10 for all sports for processing fee. And they're like, well, what's that for? Right. And you say, well, it's for printing and cost of system. And now we say kind of staffing. And we do just a $1 online per ticket fee. But curious, we're kind of throwing around the idea of adding that per ticket fee also when you call, right? Because we have pack and lunch charges, that's obviously a per ticket fee. But my biggest budget is staffing, right? Our student workers and our phone lines and things like that. So curious if anybody, because people now that we've added, this was our first year of adding that per ticket fee online. So they call in, right? They're like, how do I not have to pay that? And so wondering if anybody has done that. And Brian, you kind of mentioned it a little bit of your game day walk up, but if anybody's kind of added that per ticket fee in-house as well. So it's just flat across the board of whether you go online, it's the same price, whether you call in, it's the handling fee, right? It's because the convenience is obviously more there, just changing the language as people are moving towards this all-in pricing, especially with kind of the Congress putting that ticket act down. So curious if anybody has any thoughts. I know I just rambled around for like 3 things there, but wanted to get some opinions.
We've
Yeah.
good. Sorry. Real quick, we've got the online per ticket, like you mentioned, fee. Over the phone, we do not charge per ticket. We would just charge a one-time order processing fee over the phone. And that's usually $25 unless, but I'll take it back. Basketball, football, bigger sports is 25, Olympic sports is $5.
Are your Olympic sports like do any of them like cost $5 for your ticket? Like, so if I was buying one ticket, I could be.
Yes, we are. I think our cheapest single game ticket now is either $7 or $10.
Okay.
And then again, obviously day of goes up on that as well too.
Okay, cool. Yeah, kind of curious, right? They're like, why would I pay just as much to do the cost of the ticket, right? As you kind of go through there. So okay, cool. Ebony, what were you saying?
We charge a per ticket fee for online orders as well as if someone calls in, we phrase it in the way of we're covering the credit card fees and the fees that PAC is in a sense, because we just switched over to the new rev model with PAC. So we had to revamp how we looked at fees in whether or not it's offering online or if someone calls in. So we made that fee across the board.
Cool. Okay, great. So in my boss calls, I'll just say NC State and Cal are doing this, so let's do it too.
We are doing a PTF for online and phone orders for single games. If you have seasons and you call in, we don't do a PTF. Which is something I want to change, but they won't let me.
I mean, Maddie, I think you can phrase it to get them on board. You can phrase it in a way of like we're coming out of pocket, because this is in a sense how I phrased it to my boss was like, hey, we're footing the bill for credit card fees. We're footing the bill for, all the fees that are coming in. So if we look at it from the standpoint of even if it's a 2%, credit card fee, and along with the Pacquiao fee, that's still coming out of our pockets versus just passing it down to the consumer. And it can be a stream of revenue. We generated over $600,000 just by adding fees this past year. So, like we were talking earlier about budgets, everybody's budget is being impacted. I'm sitting here doing my budget, and I'm having to ask for more money primarily because we are in a rev model with Pacquiao, so I'm gonna have to ask for more money. So it's like in these things, we have to then pass some of this stuff down to the consumer. So
Yeah, I think the thought is the way our pack contract is, we don't get any fees on combo items. So that's an area where they try to help out consumers. That if you have seasons, you are saving not only on the cost of the ticket, but you're saving on the fees. Pack charges us for applications for online renewals, hence why we then turn around and pass it on to the consumer.
Yeah, but
they
the
don't
consumer
charge.
doesn't know that, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. That's what I was gonna say, to keep it consistent, because they don't know. Everybody gets charged a fee. Because last year we did not. This year we are charging a processing fee to our season ticket holders. And we're just telling them this is to cover any of the fees, whether it's staffing or credit card fees or whatever the case may be. So they don't know.
Yeah, we definitely did an overhaul of our fees, and we're still in the process of doing overhauls of our fees, but we try to get it consistent because to all of y'all's point, we had like renewals had one rate, and then new season tickets we were doing as per ticket fees online because we were getting charged at different rates for those. And we wanted to keep it consistent. So we went back to a flat order charge. We had significant debates on whether it followed the letter of the law of the new all-in pricing, because Maryland was one of those first states to do it at the state level. And my boss's boss said, works for me. I said, okay, put it in writing and we'll go back to that route. So we went that way, but we actually just started conversations recently. We've got big walk-ups. We just had Hopkins for our lacrosse game, which is in a good year is 8 to 10,000 people in Olympic sports. They're like, I'll save those fees and I'll just buy at the door. So we're talking about either doing more fees for a walk-up game to encourage people to purchase in advance, to try to control those buying habits and behaviors, or at a minimum maintaining those. So if you come in advance 3 days before to our box office, you pay no fees. But like if you wait till game day and buy it as a walk-up, then you're gonna pay those same fees because I don't want to have to pay for staffing to maintain 5,000 tickets sold in a 20-minute period.
I can't speak from the pack side of fees because I know how intensive that can be. Just from a Ticketmaster perspective, we don't have those problems, but just as a general, what I have been able to get away with a little bit with my administration too, as they do look to find taxes, credit card expense, stuff like that. I've gotten approval to just raise ticket prices in exchange to kind of simplify that process. So instead of like, we added sales tax onto all of our football ticket purchases, season, single game, mini plan, all of it. But rather than add that to Olympic sports, I was given approval to just go ahead and raise the ticket price from $5 to $10 per ticket. So if you could ever find a way to like Amanda brought up, not wanting to have to carry dollar bills around, it's the same reason I don't have to carry a change purse around. At least for Olympic sports. So the flat numbers, it's if you can find them, always a benefit. And I think that's something too, as we look at from a Ticketmaster perspective, that same argument of the all-in pricing, flat numbers per ticket, stuff like that. That's what we're trying to find. It's sometimes just easier to build it into the ticket cost. That way there's no breakout of fees or anything like that. Like, just make it part of the ticket cost and split the revenues later on if you need to.
Yeah, I think part of the issue, right, is the splitting of the revenue is going to get even tougher now, right? Of like, if we're trying to keep our fees because it's helping to go to cover the cost of, um, like, hey, when we moved digital and we went NFC, the pedestals are so much faster than handhelds for us, right? So like we need to order more pedestals in order to make it work, but we don't have the budget to do that now, right? And so we added fees to allow us to do that versus if we would have just upcharged the ticket price, right, and gone to $10 instead of 7 + 3, we would never see it, right? Because that's going to go to operational costs for athletics as a whole, right? So it's interesting on the in reality, all the money is the same bucket, right? Because it's going into some large, but it's really not, right? Especially as we're kind of asking kind of towards it. But yeah, I mean, we do the same thing. Like we consider an all-in price for the most part, but we just make sure that it's split out already. So it's like, no, this is going to our fees for what we do. And to be frank, our fees allowed us to get another staff person this last year. We ticket for university events, and we were pretty overwhelmed with the number of events that we ticketed. And so I show the data, right? And I said, if we just change this pricing for fees, we've got enough to cover a staff member. And so plus makes more revenue. And yeah, just I think it'll be under a lot of scrutiny with kind of the Congress stuff coming down to as we go through. Plus with the House settlement, everything that they're going to do with rev share is just going to be more and more. So I think we'll have to break out fees more. Like this is a true fee portion to cover this cost versus revenue, right, versus an operational just aspect there. So yeah, good stuff.
Someone might have mentioned it in passing earlier, but is anybody passing credit card fees along to their buyers? I see it popping up more and more with everyday stuff now, and I'm curious if anybody's doing that yet.
Ryan, that's the last hill I'm defending. I'll raise everything else, credit card fees, with the exception of away games or events that we don't receive revenue for. If it's just to pay off an invoice that we're being charged, we'll pass that on. But for the most part, that's the last hill I'll die on. We'll add the sales tax, we'll add whatever else we need to. I think credit cards are just part of the cost of business, and we don't get enough. I like not getting cash or checks. That's what I'm currently dealing with is our premium renewals, and I have to do paperwork for them. So that's the last hill I'll die on is passing on those credit card fees, at least for now.
Awesome. I guess just to anybody else on the call, I know Pacquiao came up there, TM came up. Anybody else with a different ticket system? Obviously, we're all affected by this new law going into place of what you're seeing from your provider if you have a separate one.
I'm with VVenue, and I'm set up kind of how Andrew is on the with Ticketmaster with the per ticket fee and whatnot, and I pass all my fees along to the consumer. The only issue that I saw on game day was some of our fans were. I tested out with basketball. Some of our fans weren't liking the fees, so then I just increased the ticket prices and just kept track of that throughout the season. So then I knew what to subtract and add to like my fee bucket basically for our business ops.
Jared brings up a good point there, and that's how I've been able to get around a few things. Like our sales tax is now built into the pricing of every ticket. We don't add it on at the end or anything like that. At least through our direct sales, Ticketmaster.com is a little different, but getting to that point of finding ways to not let the consumer realize it's a fee or anything like that. If you can hide it better, make it part of the ticket cost and just manually manipulate it later, that seems to be at least providing some cushion for those price increases.
Yeah, and from what I've seen, even some fans like, um, even though the ticket might be even more expensive on game day, they feel as though it's not that much expensive because they're not paying the fees. So, to me, like it works either way. Like if you go online, I'll get your information, but if you're on game day, I'll get more money from you. So.
Yeah, and honestly, to Jared's point, I mean, walk-up crowds, they're there already. It's a captive audience. So I hate, yeah, they're gonna walk away. If it's $2 more expensive on the day of the game, are they gonna turn around and walk away? I don't know. So that's kind of the approach we've taken.
I got another question. So I know like Fivo just announced, right? They're pushing their all-in model. So one struggle that we've had with them though, right, is we say that we just had a big group come for an alumni event, and they advertise tickets are $5, but then by the time they went through all the fees and stuff within it, their ticket came out to like $8, which was actually more than what if you bought it through us would be. And so we're trying to train, right, our marketing and our development and our fan experience on like, you know, how do you say what the cost of the ticket is now, right? So if they're because for us actually, by saying that it's a sales tax and an entertainment tax by the city, it helps us a little bit than increasing, well, what, you just increase prices again. No, no, no. The city implemented a tax, right? The state has a sales tax. It's kind of actually gotten us out of a little bit versus just increasing it by $3 or $4. Um, to be like, this isn't, we're not just adding it, right? We're not nickel and diming you that we're required to do this, but what used to be a really nice, easy price chart, right? That said, here's your game day prices. And so we've done like tickets start at $25. But then there's even a little bit of like, well, does it really start at $25? Because then that first ticket with tax goes. So just kind of curious if anybody, and Marie may, because you guys were one of the first ones with your state, what, kind of shifting that mindset. And with, I'd like to increase aisle seats, right? As we've all kind of done that little dynamic pricing. So just kind of curious, because that's a big thing for next year of how do we advertise this.
Our marketing department hated us. They absolutely hated us because they're all like, I'm starting it at $99, and then you click into pack and it's $109. And I was like, it's the law. But we've definitely been dealing with some growing pains with that too, of like how you communicate it. We also introduced, to complicate things more, we introduced a per seat model for our football and men's basketball. So that has been also from there. So we've been like working through like, what price are we quoting people? Are you quoting them the all-in price? Are you quoting them all the? It got a little bit easier now because we've gone back to a processing fee and not a per ticket fee. Um, so they've kind of been okay. But yeah, we haven't really settled on anything yet. It's been depending on who you ask, they like it, and if ask someone else and they hate it, and um then it's just us trying to figure out what that is. So not really a great answer, but definitely when it flipped with Pack, we're like, it's coming, and then all of a sudden they're like, what happens? And I was like, we told you it was coming. So, but yeah, we did notice it. We've had it with Fivo too, with all-in pricing since for about a year. Um, which has been good because we used to always get complaints of like, here's the ticket price, and now you've just paid an extra $6 per ticket, and I could have gotten it cheaper somewhere else.
Yeah, Amanda, we kind of use that as a leverage here at DePaul for folks to go buy through us and go from there. So when we're pitching, if a group wants a FIVO link or if we're going with FIVO, like, hey, there are going to be platform fees that are we kind of push it off on FIVO and kind of say that's the convenience of creating that special link for you. You can, and then we educate them on how they can get around those or if they want the lower price. So we haven't had any people get super upset with us on that end of it because from their end of it, we all pay like additional fees on online. So when we go from there, I think just by us educating people, we kind of put the decision in their hands to say, hey, you might pay a little bit more per ticket, but this is the convenience of us being able to customize the link and everything for you.
We're actually using Fivo less and less than we have, because of that, and their fees that the fees that we get through Pack are cheaper. We also typically do GA for groups, and Fivo is not user friendly when it comes to GA tickets. So we're actually trying to just do pretty much everything through Pack promo codes this year.
Well, say Pack Live updating their promo codes, right, to be a nicer URL, a massive update, right? Versus we used to be 1,000 characters and you couldn't send it to or text it to anybody was a big part of that. So, but yeah, no, it's good stuff.
I know we touched on, obviously, everybody knows house stuff going day by day with the latest update and things like that. So, a couple people on this call, Marie, Brian, Ebony, if you guys can figure that stuff out, just have your bosses lock it in. That'd be great. But, uh, yeah, is anybody normally like would be on sale with something that they're waiting for something from house to go through, or is everybody kind of on a normal timeline and this has been coming for years now, so we're just waiting for that paperwork to be done, but it's still full steam ahead with any planned increases and changes.
We're on the same timeline. We're just not using any student athletes in any promos. Right. It's kind of the big part because as soon as you get one person, somebody moves and goes throughout it, or very generic. But I think for us and uh yeah, we've got a good plan in place. And so, but really it is between the transfer portal and the aspects that are coming out of it. And roster limits, which we'll see how that goes here soon, but nothing kind of changed on sale, just how we advertise. And we're also, I'll say, we're putting together a little bit of with internal NAL of like, hey, now if we're going to be paying these student athletes, we want these certain thresholds too, right? Like every game we're going to have for women's basketball and baseball, ticket shout out from and maybe not, get a discount, but just, hey, get your tickets through this, right? Versus it being a static video or just claim on ads. So that's what we're changing in kind of our plans, right? Is now we're requesting this, but it doesn't necessarily change our on sales or plans for that. More of we're trying to speak more into actual marketing of the revenue portion of it instead.
Yeah, we initially we evaluated, so we ticket 10 sports. And so when everything was coming, we did pretty much an in-depth analysis of like cost versus revenue. We shook out with we're still ticketing 10 sports and we'll reevaluate it in a year. From a marketing standpoint, they adjusted and are not necessarily providing the same resources to every single game. So we're gonna reevaluate in a year and see if these sports are marketing themselves or with the reduction of focus on 10 sport or 10 events and just focusing on like 2 or 3 of the high profile games, is that affecting the revenue we were taking in? But to Amanda's point, we just had a meeting about just in general, when do you get there? When do you get photos? Like we have no basketball team currently. So we're on sale. We are in the middle of a full reseat, and we just announced our assistant coaches and have yet to announce any of our players. So people are buying tickets for Maryland, not knowing exactly what that product's going to be. But then we're like, once you get them signed, like, when do you have time to take their photos? When, like, all of these things that you normally would have done already had collateral for you don't have and you're building from scratch, and it's like, how do you get them in? When do you get them in? Is it like all at once, or are you budgeting to get one guy here, one guy there? So there's definitely like an overarching discussion of like how things are changing, but I think it's more from that perspective of the marketing and having the resources and the collateral to. And to your point, if it's guy here for a year, are you really gonna set yourself on a guy? Are you gonna focus on coaches? You're gonna focus on a story or a brand? So we'll see how the next few months go.
Yeah, Marie, with us at ACU, when we transitioned from Nike to Under Armour, it was the same thing. All of our athletes were in Nike stuff. We couldn't put it on any of our ticket stuff. So a lot of it we focused on the city and our coaches. That was the main thing that we could do. Which we had little inserts as far as like coaches quotes and talking a little bit about the team, which our season ticket holders really like. So that's just an idea.
I'll say
Yep.
too, like, oh, sorry, go ahead, Dan.
I was going to transition away, so no, you're good to.
Oh, I'd say like I'm sure I'm not the only one. We're hearing it, right? Of like, why should we buy tickets and invest if our players won't even stay and invest, right? And so, in some sense too, that it's almost more beneficial of to make a story about like, for us like Liberty and our rise to FBS and our like mission and our, you're taking out outside of like those specific players because who knows if like you buy that jersey if they'll still be there in 6 months, right? And so that's allowed us to kind of change and same reason of like fully like moving away from printing any nice tickets, right? Like because if for that game it's a player on it and it sells well, now like do I have to figure out the math of how much we owe them because their face was on that digital ad, right? Like, and so versus like just doing a shout out of like, hey, we've got a game this weekend, do this. So, um, and so yeah, like kind of storyboarding the city or it's kind of good stuff of I think it's gonna change. I do not envy the marketing, digital fan experience, communication teams and that aspect at all. And so yeah, I think we're all in just for a big change kind of like post COVID, right? Of what it actually looks like to do our jobs on a day-to-day basis there.
Awesome. Well, I know I said before I'd make it optional, but I don't want to make the recording end on an awkward note. So, Nick, if we want to cut the recording now, we'll transition to interview discussion.